Hey friends, we're going to start germinating some seeds today. So I'm going to show you the seeds that I'm starting right now. It is the last week in February, it's February 23rd. And I'm also going to show you how we're going to do it this year because we're doing it differently. So let's get started. I've been using a couple different websites to help me this year. The first one is called Smart Gardener, and I put in all of my, let's see if I can show you this. I put in all of my plants and the varieties, and it shows me a calendar for each. I can choose whether I'm starting things indoors or whether I'm starting them outdoors, and obviously some plants only start outdoors, but it lets you know that. It also lets me plan out my garden space by telling it how many I want to plant. And it gave me a recommendation to start with because I told it that we have a family of 3. And actually I probably could have put in more people because of Dan's family, but that's just what I did to get an idea. And so it'll give a suggestion. You can change it if you want, and then it'll tell you how many square feet is required for that plant. And we like to do square foot gardening. It's just easier for me. So this site is telling me that right now, if you can see this little blue line, blue means that you start indoors with your seed. So I need to be doing asparagus, what else? Celery, chives. I have 2 types of chives. Okay, so that's all on there. Asparagus, celery, and chives. This is Farmer's Almanac Garden Planner. I'm just using a trial of this for a week, so just using it for reference quickly, and then my trial will end. But this says asparagus also, as well as chives. These, so this is February. So asparagus, chives. This also says echinacea. I should go ahead and start indoors. Leeks and onions. So I'm going to do everything that both of these sites recommend. So I have some older seeds that I'm still going to try because the method that we use is the same method that you would use to test seeds. So I've got the asparagus, I have the celery, I have chives. There's my 2 kinds of chives, garden chives and garlic chives. And then I have some red and yellow, I think. Oh, it says golden onions. So I guess yellow and red onions. These are older, so like I said, I'm going to try them anyway. These are newer, so I know these should definitely sprout. And then I have green onions. These are some older leeks. These are some newer leeks, so we'll use the older ones first. And then I have, let's see, there's the echinacea. And then I have herbs that I'm going to try as well. These are older, and then these are newer. And I read that you can go ahead and start herbs indoors if you're going to keep them indoors. Use them in your kitchen, you know, say like an indoor kitchen herb garden. And then if you're going to do herbs outdoors, then you would start them a little bit later, and I'll follow my schedules for those. So we have parsley, dill, cilantro, and basil. And then the way we are doing this year, sorry for the shadows, instead of using plastic trays for with soil in them to germinate our seeds, we're going to use the plastic bag method with a heat mat, which is what I have under here. I just have it under the boxes because I'm flattening it out. It's brand new. So we'll take the heat mat, we'll put a towel over it, a folded towel, and then we will take either paper towel, which is what I have seen in multiple YouTube videos, or somebody said you can use coffee filters because they don't, the seeds don't tend to hang on to the coffee filters like they do the paper towels. So, but the coffee filters don't fit into the baggies as well as the paper towels. So I might still stick with the paper towels. We'll see. This is all an experiment anyway. All right, so with this method, you are going to take your paper towel and get it wet. And I'll start with asparagus. And my planning says that I'm going to do 10 asparagus plants. So I'll add a few more, just in case. Probably spread them out a little more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'll put 16 on there. Okay, so from what I've seen, you put your seeds on here, fold this over, and wet it again, so that the paper towel is all wet. And then you put your seeds into the plastic bag. All right, so asparagus is done. Let me talk a little bit about why we are doing this year instead of plastic trays. Instead of plastic trays, we are going to do soil block trays. So we got a soil block maker, and then Dan is going to make wooden soil block trays for these soil blocks to go on. So even if we bought a bunch of heat mats for this cold basement that stays around 50, 55 degrees, the wooden soil trays wouldn't allow the heat to get to the plants to germinate. So we just bought one heat mat, and we're going to follow this method because you can do many seeds at one time with just one heat mat. And then they germinate in about 3 to 4 days, and after that, then we can transplant them. We can put all the little sprouts into our soil blocks. So that's what we're hoping to do. All right, so next I'm doing celery. And I really love these little resealable bags from Seeds of Change. All right, these seeds are tiny. We are doing, let's see, celery. 12 celery plants. Okay, so I have the heat mat under here. I have a towel folded on top. I'm putting my seeds on this folded towel along with my temperature probe, so I know how warm it's staying in the towels. All right, we'll try that. Oh, you know, I forgot to do holy basil. We'll see what the temperature starts to climb up to. And I need to do holy basil, stick that in there. And then I think we're done. There was one website that told me that I could go ahead and do peppers. I have sweet peppers and jalapeno peppers, but I think I'm going to wait on those until next week. Because our frost date, we're in zone 6. So our frost date is averaged between, like, our last frost date is averaged between May 5th and May 15th. So if I do bell peppers next week, that's between 8 and 10 weeks before the last frost date. I think that'll be plenty of time. All right, so holy basil is done. This is a great anti-inflammatory. So we'll stick it in here with the rest. What I like about this method is that you can do so many at one time with only the one heat mat. If I were doing all of these seeds in plastic pots, that would take up many shelves and need many heating pads. So I like this. I like that we know what temperature it's going to be at. We can make sure that they'll have optimal conditions for germinating. And also, we should know within the week whether or not some of these old seeds are still viable or not. And then if not, I can replant right away. I don't have to wait 3 weeks to find out whether my seeds are bad or not. So I'll keep you updated on how our seeds are doing, and we'll see how long it takes them to sprout.